Welcome to the Lee Library Gallery. I'm here with Maryann Fitzhugh, and Maryann has a wonderful exhibit in the library called Berkshire Seasons. And so we're going to take you on a tour of this exhibit, but before we do, I'd like to talk a little bit about who Maryann is. She's one of the library board of directors members, and she's a teacher, retired, a gardener, an artist, and a musician. And would you like to add other things?
I like to cook and bake.
Oh, that's true. And an extraordinary baker. And we often share her goodies at our knitting. And she's also a knitter. So we're going to go on this exhibit, and we're going to talk a little bit about the paintings. And so how did you get started in this?
Well, the original start goes way back to 1990, I believe. I had a companion at work that wanted to go to a class that Gloria Malcolm Arnold was running and wanted someone to come with her. So I said, sure, I'll go. And my friend stayed to do one painting that she wanted to do, but I stayed for a good year and a half. But at the end of that time, I was expecting my second child, working, and found I hadn't had any time for art. So I kind of put the art away in December of 1993 and resumed in the fall of 2010. Mm-hmm. And since then, for about 7 years, I'm thinking, I attended many of the Wednesday evening classes that Gloria held. Mm-hmm. And that was a lovely place to sit and paint. And once COVID hit and a few other issues, the classes no longer are being offered by Gloria. So now I paint at home. I have a sunroom that I kind of designated as my painting area, so I have good light. It's somewhat heated in the winter, so I can go out in the winter. And with my children out of the house, it's been an activity that I enjoy.
That's great. So let's start, and we'll go and talk about your paintings. Okay, we're going to start with this painting by Maryann of Downtown Lee. And you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, this is an oil of Downtown Lee, I believe probably late summer, early fall. This was from a photograph that the late Dave Simmons allowed me to paint from. And I have it separate because, having lived in Lee now for about 40 years, it is the gateway town to the Berkshires, and so many of the paintings in this collection reflect the Berkshires over the 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to be looking at obviously, lots of scenes. So are scenery and landscapes your favorites?
For the most part, I have some still lifes, mostly of flowers. And for the most part, yeah, I do like scenery. I like putting houses, and I have a couple that are like rooftop scenes that I've enjoyed working on because you have a lot of variety in rooftops and some scenes. But for the most part, just landscapes.
And one of the things that when we go around to look at your paintings and give the titles, you spend a lot of time on your titles for your paintings. And so do you want to tell a little bit how you get to these titles, or what inspired you to have these creative titles?
The titles were trying to be alliterative from the very beginning. The 2 paintings here, Perchance a Picnic mm-hmm. and Blissful Barn, were among the earliest that I did back in 2010. So I tried to keep a lot of things, using alliteration in their titles. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's been successful, sometimes I've changed the titles a couple times, but many of them have had the titles I just think of quickly.
Okay, we'll start our spring paintings with the Berkshire Field of Spring. Want to talk a little bit about that, the inspiration, or?
That was probably done about 5 years ago, and it was kind of a mix from 2 photographs, so it was from Berkshire County, but I don't know the places. Mm-hmm. The second one, the canoes, is from the backside of Laurel Lake mm-hmm. here in Lee, early spring, and that was that.
It's a very nice painting, and it's got the cold. You can see the water's not quite in the summer colors yet, and the very few leaves on the trees.
Right.
Getting ready for this.
Yeah.
Okay, then we do Perchance a Picnic, which you mentioned, but this is a very lovely painting with the spring colors in the trees, the blossoming trees. And this, where is this?
This is from Holiday Hill Farm in Dalton. It was from a picture that was included in, I think, Lee Bank's calendar from probably 1994. I remember saving that calendar for a good 15 years because there were some very lovely photographs.
I like how you managed to get the reflections on the water as well. This one and your next one, The Blissful Barn, have real touches of impressionist paintings. And I love that touch that you give it, and it gives it dimension as well.
Yeah, this was one that I know I completed when I did the classes with Gloria. I still remember David King from the class remarking on the rocks because he was such a good rock painter and I wasn't, but I didn't play with them too much.
So you did a great job on them. Rocks can be very hard to capture.
Yes, they are.
And he was very good at rocks, actually.
Right, yeah.
So, great.
Southleigh Spring was, again, another photograph that I used with permission from David Simmons. And it is by the bridge where the mill is off of Route 102 in Southleigh. The other one is from a photograph of Nankeg. That is a watercolor, again, in spring.
I love it. This is, and you've captured that unique bridge that.
Right, I try to. If you know the bridge, you can find it. If you don't, you might be confused of what some of that is, but yeah.
But it's a very good image of. It's interesting to see things from a different perspective, and even the house at Nankeg from the back side. And I think you like doing that because we'll see a number of places that you've painted from the back side rather than the front side of the building. So it gives us a different perspective, different view, which is fun.
The watercolor on top is Stockbridge Bowl from a photograph I took early, I think a couple years ago, but this was just completed this March of 2024. Again, there was some greenery, so you can kind of tell spring is right on the cusp, but still not full summer. The bottom one ended up coming out much more in a different, it kind of looks more rustic, but it was from a photograph from the little spit of a road in West Stockbridge.
And it's called Wandering West Stockbridge.
Yep. The top watercolor, again, is on the lee side on the back road around Laurel Lake. I was driving and took the photograph because the light just made everything look so green and spring-like. The chairs, I think, were also green, but I had to change them to blue to have a little contrast. The bottom is a watercolor with more lupins than actually were in front of this house, but there are a couple places in Lanesboro that I have noticed a lot of lupins in late spring.
And this is Leapin' Lupins in
another alliterative.
And it's great. It's got wonderful lupins and lots of daisies as well, and a real welcome to spring.
The picture of the roses is from a photograph I took of one of my rose bushes. Probably about 4 years ago. It hasn't done quite as well lately, but kind of a peachy pink bunch of roses.
Right, and these roses are starting us into the next season, which is our summer season. And so the next piece that we'll go on to is called Berkshire Garden Light.
And Berkshire Garden Light is in front of my house. It's my lamppost. And there's tons of perennials around it that just keep exploding year after year. The bottom is called Up It Up in Cheney Falls. It's a little oil from visiting the falls, I think about 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago.
It's in New Marlboro.
Yep.
It's really a very lovely painting.
The next two are very landmark mansions from Lenox. up is Elm Court, small oil, and the bottom is Edith Wharton's mansion. Both are oils, and
I love the Edith Wharton's mansion because you're seeing it from the backside again and looking out into the garden, and you can almost hear the jazz being played on the back porch. It's a great place to be, and it's lots of fun, and it's a wonderful painting.
Well, thank you. This next one, Red Lion Backside, is a watercolor. I've driven so many times by the Red Lion Inn, and as you round the corner, I would glance off and see the back stairs, and in the summer, the flower baskets. Being a watercolor, my only regret on this painting is I wish I could have made the flowers slightly brighter.
But it's still a lovely painting, and it really captures that backside and those welcoming steps as people come to stay at the Red Lion Inn.
Mm.
And then the next one is called Quiet Berkshire Garden. And is this a favorite?
This one's been added to a number of times. I wanted to do something that was looser, that maybe did not require a frame. Originally, there was no rake and there was no sun hat.
Mm-hmm.
I attempted to add garden gloves this year, but had to take them out because they didn't look like gloves at all.
This is a wonderful painting, though, and it's very welcoming to go and sit and look at your flowers and to sit on the bench and spend some time. So it's a really wonderful painting.
This is Richmond Roadside Stand. I had passed by the rustic, can't think of the name of it, croft, a couple years ago, and just had to stop the car and take a picture. There were so many flowers, and it just was such a old-fashioned looking wayside stand. So that's the watercolor. I've driven by this year. I think they downsized it, so I'm glad I did this when I did.
That's great. It's really a wonderful scene. And then the next is a common visitor, not only in downtown Lee, but at your house too.
Yes.
And so you want to talk about your Berkshire bear here.
This is one of the many Berkshire bears.
Yes.
This came from a photograph a friend took, and it's just a little watercolor with the bear, and I've named it Please Don't Eat the Daisies.
Mm-hmm.
I do like to grow sunflowers. This is a photo from my garden. I do name my sunflowers. I don't know who's included in this watercolor though. The bird, I've tried birds before. This bird, I played with it for like 10 minutes and I said, I'm done. I'm not going to touch it up anymore.
And you captured him very well.
Yeah.
People can identify this bird.
Yeah.
And the sunflowers are beautiful. And so this turns out to be a wonderful summer painting and the end of our summer paintings. And now we're going to go into the fall. And we're going to notice Otis, and you have Autumn and Otis. And so you want to talk a little bit about this painting?
Yes, this is from a photograph of just a small stream in Otis. Again, in my attempt to do scenes from a lot of the South County towns.
And it's beautiful. It captures the bright colors of the fall and along the stream, and it's a very inviting place. I like the water. The water, you can feel the movement in the water on this, and this is a very lovely painting.
This is the general store in Mill River, early fall. It's a couple photographs that I took. By happy circumstance, one of the last photos I took, this old pickup truck came right in front of the store, so I suddenly was attempting to do a couple cars, which I've never tried before.
Very successful and a very nice fall painting, a very welcoming Mill River general store.
This is a quick pastel and some watercolor of Berkshire birches that I put together from a photograph.
Great colors in the foliage and great bark on the birches. Did a great job.
This next one, Peaceful Pittsfield Pines, was from a photograph a friend took, I believe, from Pittsfield State Forest in the fall.
It's beautiful. I love the light coming through. I think this one has great use of light, and I love the reflection that comes from that light. It's a beautiful little painting. It's wonderful. I think it's one of my favorites. I'm torn between two of them, but this is definitely one of them.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, this one, once my friend posted the photo, I really wanted to paint it.
It's really wonderful.
This next one, Only Apples in the Orchard, was painted during COVID. I remember doing it while I was watching the TV series. It has almost the same title.
That's a great painting, and it is a very characteristic fall Berkshire scene.
These next three watercolors are all from photographs of, the top one is Lee Steeple. The one to the right of that is the alleyway in Stockbridge in fall. And the bottom one is one from the Mills
Yeah.
in Housatonic. I never realized that there was a street that goes an area in Housatonic that overlooks the hills, some kind of the hilltop. So I took the photo from there.
I think they're all great pictures. I love the back of the steeple and looking at it through the leaves and the fall colors. They're all wonderful. I love the little Stockbridge alleyway. Also, it kind of looks like a European alleyway. It's very nice.
Okay, I didn't realize till now, but the next two watercolors really focus on single structures. The top one is from Eden Wharton's estate. I think it was part of the garden area.
Yeah.
The bottom is a little gazebo in Glendale outside of Stockbridge. It has special meaning to me because we took wedding photos there this November of my daughter and her new husband. I wish now I've taken another photo of it because it's window boxes with flowers. But this was how it was in November.
Oh, this is a very lovely painting to commemorate that very special occasion.
Okay, the next three are all oils. The one on the left with the birches is the view I have from one of my daughter's bedrooms looking out to October Mountain.
I love the trees. You did a great job on the branching of the trees, but I also love the light coming from behind the mountain.
It was almost sunset, and there was a lot of light from behind the mountain that day.
That's a great picture.
The top little oil is Terringham, kind of midwinter, again around sunset, so the sky was very pretty that day.
So that's a great lead-in for us to start the winter paintings.
Right. Blizzard Barnes is Great Barrington. Again, I'm thinking the last 2 years. I remember doing that one very, very quickly.
That's a great painting. I love how you captured the snow and the feeling of the bleakness of the snow in the barns.
Yeah. Again, around sunset.
With the great winter skies, the beautiful colors
Yeah.
of the winter
And
skies and reflected on the trees.
And again, with a watercolor, it's hard to know when you have to stop. Because I love doing all the colors in the sky, but sooner or later you have to say, I'm done.
And the cold water coming through also. It's a wonderful winter painting.
Okay, Berkshire Syrup Buckets is a little watercolor. Not much color in it, but I had the hardest time making the buckets sort of stand out. So I kind of stopped when I thought it was ahead, but it was, again, late winter, so very bleak, not much color. The cat, which is called Fluffy in a Flurry, is really my own white cat whose real name is Edelweiss. This is from a photograph my younger daughter took in high school, and we fell in love with the photo when she came home with it. And I thought I could paint some kind of cat, but I remarkably did the cat that really looks like our cat. She's still an indoor-outdoor cat, no longer able to climb that high in a branch, but this is still one of my favorites. This top watercolor, Adrift in Alfred, is one of the older ones in the collection, and it's from a photo of Alfred, an Alfred barn. I'm not sure exactly where.
I think you did great trees in this one. I love the front tree and the way it splits and the trees in the winter. And it's a very lovely painting.
Yeah, I like the pine tree on the left because it's just it's not in your face. And so again, hard to know when to stop.
It is.
adding branches, adding this and that on the watercolors.
But you captured a very lovely painting.
This is the Seekonk Tree Farm outside of Great Barrington. I believe I kind of put trees in back of the barn that in a field that aren't really there, but are a little bit further away from the barn. But again, I love the little trees and the sky when I took the photos.
I love the winterberry in the foreground. I think
the
that's
winterberry
great.
I added.
Yeah, that's okay. You have
Yeah.
artistic license, and you've done a great job on adding, and gives you a great view of this tree farm.
Okay, this is an oil, the scenery across the street from Highland Farm in Lee in the winter. And I go by Highland Farm just about every other day in all the seasons and just love all the views you can see from the farm.
This one really shows you the expanse of the hills and how far and the fields are going across as well. So it's really a very interesting view.
This is the scene of Main Street in Stockbridge around Christmas time. Again, I had difficulty, I thought, with the trees. So again, I just stopped.
But this is a wonderful painting called Seasonal Stockbridge. And it does capture the warmth of the buildings aglow in the winter, and it's really a very wonderful little painting. And this is our last painting, and the last of the winter paintings as well. So Maryann, tell us about Christmas Day Room.
Christmas Day Room was the last painting I did in December of 1993. When I was painting early on back those years, I often would have a greeting card to work from. So this was from a Christmas card. And when it got to the time to add the cat on the chair, Gloria Malcolm Arnold helped to do the cat because I started it and backed away saying, I can't do this cat. So I do remember that Gloria worked on the cat with me. And this I have kept, for 30, almost, good 30 years now. I do hang it up around Christmas time.
And it's a very lovely final painting for our exhibit. I hope you've enjoyed our tour. Thank you so much, Maryann, for sharing it with us. People have really enjoyed seeing all your work and have commented what a great exhibit this has been. So I hope you'll do another one sometime.
I'd like to. This was fun to do. I was a little nervous having the whole room to myself and coming to see them when I come to knit. But I'm hoping people did enjoy them. And as I said, I keep at it.
Thank you. And thank you again. And thank you to
thank you.
CTSB for filming this.